Check this out. Snoop Dogg might be the greatest rapper of all time. Greatest of all time! It's all happening.
Static Selector.
Do the math. 25 years, 30 million records sold worldwide, 15 solo projects, scores of mixtapes and collaborative releases, 2 classic projects. The first one, The Chronic. It's impossible to understate the importance of The Chronic, and Snoop's all over it. He's a writer on 13 of the 16 songs, which is super significant. It's like Rae and Ghost on the Purple Tape, only if Ghost helped write for Rae too. He talked about it with MTV and Bill Bellamy back in the day. Roll the clip out.
So I came down and just started writing songs for him, and then I started writing songs for him involving me, so we can make it a real big plan, you know what I'm saying? And it just worked out like that.
Throwback, young, fresh-faced Snoop. Now, he would go on to leverage that situation into an opportunity to put on the Dog Pound. DPG would go platinum as well. Corrupt described the landscape to me in a conversation we had back in 2013. He said Snoopy wrote the majority of everything. That's how Daz got in the game. Snoop wrote most of his verses, and after that, Doggy Style was coming, and John Singleton wanted Snoop, and John was like, anything with Snoop on there is good, so we utilized the dog to get me and Daz in the game. Snoop did it again in 1993 with his solo debut album Doggy Style. Major impact, 5.5 million records sold. Rolling Stone said it was one of the 100 best albums of the 1990s. It came in at number 14. The Source gave it 4 out of 5 mics at first, then rounded their rating up to 5 out of 5 mics, a perfect score because that's how good Doggy Style is. In an interview, Snoop said he named it Doggy Style because he was coming through the back door of the industry. One of my favorite interviews with Snoop. Murder Was the Case is my favorite joint on the project. It's one of the first ones that I remember hearing where a rapper was arguing with the devil for his life. We'd see DMX do it later. We'd see Kendrick Lamar do it later as well. Ironically, in 1993, Snoop would also end up being charged with murder in the shooting death of Philip Waldemariam. He and his bodyguard, Snoop and his bodyguard, would both end up getting off on those charges in 1996, fortunately. But overall, 1993 was such a great year for Snoop Dogg. Complex named Snoop the greatest rapper of 1993. They said that Snoop's blueprint would influence both carbon copy artists like Da Brat and Domino, and even subtly affect the music of the Notorious B.I.G. and Jay-Z. The future East Coast Titans, who had rapped like Mr. Funky of Lords of the Underground and the Fushnikins respectively, noticeably decompressed their flows, letting words and lines breathe in the wake of Doggy Style, among other East Coast artists. Snoop's freestyle game has been official as well. People have been touting his skills freestyling off the top for over 2 decades. Reggie Williams, AFH CEO, he was senior vice president of BET Networks back then. He recalls Snoop being one of the only artists who would come through and actually freestyle on The Basement. Stat Quo and I had a conversation in 2013 where he described Snoop as one of the illest freestylers on the low. Snoop visited Big Boy on Real 92.3 a couple of years back. Here he is freestyling at nearly 50 years old. Roll the clip out.
Big Boy back on the radio. Snoop Dogg came through, I heard a beat him quick. I said, you better let me get a verse on it. He said, cool. He said, pause. He said, dog, you the best and you break laws.
That's the Shiznit, another classic off Doggy Style. Snoop was feeling his flow right there, but really put this into perspective. Snoop was a major part of 2 of hip-hop's most revered projects back in hip-hop's most competitive decade. That's incredible. That's rarefied air. That's something Jay-Z never accomplished. Blue Carpet Treatment is another lyrically outstanding album in Snoop's catalog. Definitely critically respected. The Last Meal from his No Limit days stands out. Rhythm and Gangsta, Paid the Cost to Be the Boss. Snoop's catalog is deceptively strong. He's always on a gang of singles as well. He's literally worked with everyone from Tupac to Katy Perry. Snoop's the definition of prolific, but along with that, his business side is booming as well. Snoop's always given a lot of credit to Master P for showing him the business side in deeper detail. Snoop was signed to No Limit after he left Death Row. Things got a little dicey between him and Death Row, so he ended up down in New Orleans. I asked Master P actually about Snoop Dogg. Here's what he said.
I seen the value in Snoop. Snoop was a hell of a worker, and Snoop was a different breed. He watched what I was doing and wanted to hustle. You know, at first he wanted to be an artist, but when he got around me, it started wearing off, man. He asked me, how you get the money over there? Like, man, that's what you need to do. You need to go out and reach out to these sponsors. You need to go out and do this. He started doing it. You know, you got to get rid of some of these people off your team. Get experts on your team. Get good people around. Get people that's going to work when everybody else sleep. You know, that's what a real entrepreneur is. You got to be able to see the vision when nobody else don't see it.
At first, he wanted to be an artist. Now that's an interesting statement when you think about Snoop. I mean, Snoop's put out so many different projects. I never actually felt like he's one of those artists who sacrificed the art for the business side though. Like if you really look at a project like Snoop Lion, he changed his name to Snoop Lion and went Rastafari on Reincarnated. He put out a funk album with Damn Funk and went Snoopzilla. Teamed up with Pharrell and made Bush, which is a R&B pop kind of album. I actually interviewed Snoop right after Bush and asked him about evolution. Here's what he said.
Sometimes I don't even know what the fuck the songs mean when we doing them. It takes, you know what I'm saying? It takes a minute for that song to live with you and
to feel it.
Yeah, for it to grow. And then once that motherfucker grow, then it becomes, okay, I get it. That's the spirit of making music sometimes. We don't understand it, like until it speaks to you. I don't know why I made Murder Was the Case. I hadn't had a case. I had never been to jail for murder, but as soon as I wrote it, we put it out. Rapper Snoop Dogg on trial for murder.
Right.
That's why I don't write songs like that no more.
Bush is underappreciated in my opinion. It's the best Snoop of when Snoop's making songs that would work at the White House, for example. And views on that project were higher than you might think. Peaches and Cream was one of his singles. That has 13 million views on it. California Roll, that was another one off that project. That has 21 million views on YouTube. If Reincarnated is experimental Snoop at its most polarizing, then Bush is experimental Snoop finally achieving balance. Now, the knock against Snoop Dogg is that while his catalog is prolific, it's not exactly the picture of consistency. There's a lot of excess in there, a lot of forgettable projects like Dogfather or Documentary. Fortunately, we're in the streaming era now. In the streaming era, singles carry more weight than albums do a lot of times, so that works in Snoop's favor. But also at the same time, we understand that more things going into being an artist than just being dope at one particular style of art. Snoop's intangibles are nearly unparalleled. Entertainment exists on screens of all sizes, and Snoop's a star everywhere. Globalization complete. Couple that with movies he starred in. His Snoop Youth Football League, GGN's immensely popular. He has 1.8 million subscribers on YouTube. His Instagram has 19.3 million followers, 17 million followers on Twitter. Snoop has transcended while still pushing culture, protecting culture. In 1997, he partnered with Puff Daddy to end the East Coast-West Coast beef officially. In 2005, he convened the Protect the West Summit with Game to squash all beef within artists from the West Coast. This was in stark contrast to what was happening on the East Coast back then, for example, where everyone seemed to be beefing with 50 Cent. Snoop told MTV, "It was me relaying to them that the banging in the business ain't making us no money. If we come together and move as one unit, money will be there and the opportunity to shine will be there. What it's all about is saying, I'm from the West Coast, you're from the West Coast, let me get your number, we could probably do some music together." In 2012, I got a chance to ask Snoop about Protect the West, 7 years after it took place. Here's what he told me. Today, as I look at it right now, that's why they hail me as the king of the West Coast, as Uncle Snoop, because of the things that I have done to protect the West, to make sure that we have something, to make sure that we don't kill each other and shoot each other and badmouth each other to where people up top don't close down the industry and say, y'all can't eat in this avenue anymore. This is still a business. That's what I try to teach the brothers every day. Remember when you was a kid and you were aspiring to be someone that inspired you? We have to be that because we've been given the light. I'm behind you now, so my light will continue to shine. Is it a stretch to say that Protect the West is the reason why the West Coast has looked so great this decade? The TDEs, the YGs, the artistic renaissance that's taken place in Los Angeles? Maybe, but I don't think it's a stretch to say that Snoop Dogg is a part of everything that happens around here. Uncle Snoop, the dog father, he's been protecting the West for 2 decades plus. He's never stopped evolving artistically, and he's maintained a relentless approach to business. All these things are worthy of a standing ovation. From Murder Was the Case to Martha Stewart, this is one of the most improbable career arcs of anyone in hip-hop history. He's wildly prolific with multiple albums in multiple genres. Plus he has big hit records, Drop It Like It's Hot, Beautiful, Gin and Juice, What's My Name? We could play this game all day. Mentorship, versatility, longevity, low-key, top-tier live show. Is all of that lost primarily under the weight of giving us too many songs? I don't know. Depends on how you feel. Hip-hop is competitive, but there is no official scoreboard. But if someone came up to me tomorrow and was like, you know what, Justin, Snoop Dogg from the LBC is the greatest rapper of all time, I might not agree, but I'd understand.
Static Selector.
Another Saturday, it's all happening. Thank you guys for rocking with us each week. We appreciate it. I really want to talk about Snoop Dogg this week. I think Snoop Dogg is someone who doesn't necessarily get enough credit, but his history has so much breadth to it. It's very difficult to cover that in 10 to 15 minutes, so to speak. I may revisit this and do a longer edition, which is something I've been considering for some of these GOAT pieces. I left a couple of comments in Reddit a couple of weeks ago, which I think a few of you did see, about my plans for Lupe Fiasco coming up. So maybe that's how these larger artists should be handled going forward. Anyway, what do you guys think? Where does Snoop rank on the all-times list? Part of this discussion started with me just looking at different rankings on different publications, whether they're major ones or whether they're just things posted in different forums, and his name is rarely put into that catalog. If you agree, let me know why. If you disagree, share that too. Like and subscribe to this channel, follow @TheCompanyMan on everything. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell too. It's all happening.